Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video, we're going to be talking about the top 10 biggest financial issues that we see with millennials and Gen Z. Ultimately, it comes down to education, and schools are not providing it as of right now, guys. It seems like this is a huge miss when it comes to financial literacy, when it comes to financial education within our public and private school systems, is they're not really teaching the financial picture. Now, in addition to this, you might have parents that are not very financially sound or have that much financial literacy or education themselves, which couple those both together, and we're raising a generation that does not have a very strong grasp on finances, which is the reason why I wanted to cover these topics. First topic we get into is student loan debt. Now, many millennials, Gen Zers really have a very high level of student loan debt, which is difficult to repay, especially if you're just starting out in really two scenarios. One, you're trying to find a job and you're unable to find a job, or two, you found a job, but it is not paying enough to cover your student loans, which again can be very detrimental. Now, this is where it is really up to parents, it is up to financial counselors at universities to really kind of manage the student loan debt, not allowing students to borrow far more money than they need to really to finance that education. It might mean that parents kick in a little bit if they can help, and then student loan debt really as a last resort, because again, once you get out of school, you are going to have a lot of student debt that needs to be repaid. Number two focuses on the rising housing costs. As the housing market continues to increase in value, now we're seeing that coupled with interest rates that are increasing, and we are seeing rent that is going astronomical throughout the United States. There are places that are up 15, 20, 40, 50% in the cost of rent, which makes it very difficult for younger individuals to afford a down payment for a house, or if they're going in at zero down, they are also having a much higher interest rate, or even if they're looking to rent a decent apartment, they are getting very expensive, guys. Even remotely around here, a one-bedroom apartment goes for about $1,400. At some places, two bedrooms, $1,800, $1,900, which is insane because that is the apartment costs that we're seeing around the Metro Detroit area, which again is very high. When you look on the mortgage side, you can almost get a mortgage in the sheer cost of what people are paying for apartments. Now, third one we look at is income inequality. So essentially with this, millennials, Generation Z struggle to find well-paying jobs when they first start out. So if they're not going to college, if they did go to college, it really leaves a gap because you have either the rising housing cost if you're not living at home, coupled with the student loan debt, and now you're not finding a job to support the income for what you have to repay, which again can really impact the financial stability or the financial instability that people are feeling because of these well-paying jobs. Again, if you're getting out of a four-year degree, if you're getting out of a higher institution of education, you really need to work diligently with your counselors, making sure that you have a job lined up. A lot of people do not do this, guys, is having a job lined up when you are complete with school, when you're done, so you know that you're going to have the ability to repay these student loan debts, because they only give you 6 months of deferment. After 6 months, guys, of graduation, you're required to start paying these back. The fourth part is higher health care costs. Now, we see this if you are not on your family's health insurance, your parents' health insurance, or if you do not have health insurance yourself, this can leave many young people really struggling to pay if there's any necessary medical cares. Even if you get sick, guys, if you do not have insurance, period, the healthcare costs in this nation are incredible. I know in comparison to other places, it is quality care, but that quality care does come with a very high cost. If you have to find health insurance on your own, it is very expensive. The fifth one we look at is credit card debt. Many young people use credit cards to pay for daily expenses. This is one that I can absolutely talk till I am blue in the face, guys. This is one of my biggest pet peeves. Leads to a higher level of credit card debt. Credit card rates continue to increase on those variable loans, and I believe we are encroaching on $1 trillion in credit card debt in the United States, which is just absolutely mind-blowing. But this is how people really pay daily expenses, but this is also how a lot of people do supplement their income because they do not budget properly. Now, again, I'm a very big proponent of eliminating the credit card debt, eliminating the debt in budgeting, which again, a lot of people do not do because they've never been taught to budget anything from our institutions. Number 6, we get into the retirement planning. This is a very interesting one because I have a lot of individuals that come to me, the millennials and the Gen Z, focusing on their own retirement, focusing on retirement planning. Most of them have no clue what it is, guys. If their employer gives you a 401k, if they look at IRAs, if they look at investment accounts, most of them, again, fundamentally have no idea what a retirement planning is, what investments are, how to invest, where to invest. It is literally the general foundation that we need to be teaching and educating this class of individuals. Number 7 gets into the lack of savings. Many young people struggle to save money because of all of the things we just talked about, guys. Credit card, higher debt, healthcare costs, rising housing costs, student loan debt. They're not really set up for success coming out and into the world, guys. And again, without the financial education piece really behind them and planning how they're going to pay back their debt, how they're going to pay back the student loan debt, making sure they have a good job. Many young people struggle with saving money due to the lower wages and the higher expenses that we are seeing within the United States. Number 8, we get into my favorite one, which is the financial illiteracy. Many millennials and Gen Z lack the financial knowledge to manage any of their money efficiently. Again, this is where I think fundamentally as a nation, we have really had a big miss for a number of years, guys. I have a lot of people who even come in for counseling, come in to sit down and really have a conversation that have zero knowledge pretty much of everything, even when it comes to savings accounts, CDs, retirement accounts, things of that nature. Fundamentally, how to live, I guess, and survive like as a human in society today, they are not taught the fundamentals, which I do not think is kind of crazy to think that the fundamentals are not there when they're getting out of school, short of the parents really teaching them that. Number 9 gets into unemployment. Many young people, again, coming out of college, struggle with unemployment, leading to financial instability, insecurity, and they're also missing that ability to repay some of the things that they already have borrowed. So if they're coming out of school and they have a little bit of credit card debt, if they have the student loan debt, if they're looking for a place to live, if they have healthcare expenses, if they cannot find a job, all of this literally just falls apart, guys, financially. If they do not have a source of income, it means moving back in with mom and dad until you find something, which is the reason why I said laying it up or actually getting something set prior to graduation, prior to getting out of high school, getting out of college, whatever it may be, really does make a big difference. And the final one, guys, is the economic uncertainty. Right now, we could be facing a recession, among other things. Global economy, the state of flux. A lot of millennials, Gen Z, do not understand the uncertainty that we face right now. We know we've seen it in the past. I am not one that jumps on the boat of the world is ending, but we know there has to be some stability within the financial system, or it does and it will completely all fall apart if we don't get that stability under there, which I'm hoping with the rates going up a little bit, with inflation coming down, with the job market still being hot, seems like there are a multitude of factors that are going to affect this class. Because remember, guys, as the baby boomers are continuing to grow older and kind of phasing out of the employment, the work cycle, more relying on Social Security, pensions, things of that nature, this is the younger generation that is going to be taking their place in the next, 10, 20, 30 years. This is going to be the primary source of income for a majority of these millennials and these Gen Zers. All right, guys, so that'll do it for today's video, covering the top 10 biggest financial issues that millennials and Gen Zers really do face today. If you like the content I provide, go ahead, subscribe down below, guys. Give it a big thumbs up. And as always, thank you guys for watching.